Hi everyone, it's Stacy. Thank you for coming on this yoga leap with me. Thanks for tuning in again this week, and welcome to anyone who might be tuning in for the first time. As you can see, I have my chair here with me, so I will be practicing in the chair. I will be demonstrating a little bit on the mat and the chair, but I'm mostly going to be staying in the chair today. So if you tend to be someone who doesn't practice in the chair, this might be a good opportunity to follow along in the chair and try something new and keep that sort of beginner mindset present in the practice today. Other than the chair, I don't use many props because I'm not sure what people have at home, but if you do like to use blocks or straps or bolsters or anything to help your practice, by all means, go ahead and grab that now. And otherwise, I'm going to meet you in the chair and we'll get started. So, settling into our chair or the floor, we'll start our practice seated. I do love starting seated, as you maybe know, each week. Mostly we start seated, sometimes lying down, sometimes standing, but I like this as a nice balance. Now, if you do prefer to start lying down or standing, by all means, go ahead and find what works best for you, and let's start to settle in. So depending on what type of chair you have, you may have a bit of a back support. You can use that to help yourself relax, but don't sacrifice nice tall posture for leaning into the back of the chair. If you have arms, maybe you can rest your arms on the chair. Otherwise, just hands in lap with palms turned down or up, or maybe just resting in your lap. Maybe you want to bring your hands over your heart space, whatever feels best. If you're on the floor, you might be seated in cross leg or any version of easy seated pose, lotus or half lotus even, depending on how we're feeling today. I also want to just make sure my feet are comfortably on the chair. So here, if you do have blocks, this might be a great opportunity to put a block under the feet so that you're not, your feet aren't dangling. If your chair is a little too tall for you, that is a nice way to use the blocks. So hands can be turned down or turned up. We can close our eyes if that feels comfortable for us wherever we are. And if not, maybe just turning the gaze down and finding a nice still spot to rest your gaze on. Settling in here, let's start to just sort of check in with our body and our breath and all of our senses. So that includes what can we hear, maybe what can we smell, how is our body feeling, what are our hands feeling like in our laps. Tuning into all of those senses one at a time, or maybe collectively, flowing between sound, smell, touch, maybe even sight if your eyes are open. If not, even if the eyes are closed, what sort of patterns, colors, movement can you sense even behind closed eyes? And then once we've had a chance to spend a few moments just exploring all those senses, check in with our breath and start to just notice, maybe, is it moving fast or slow? Is it deep or shallow? There's no right or wrong answer. We're just noticing it. Can we really feel it down in our bellies, or is it a little higher up in our chest? For many of us, this is first day back to school after a holiday break, as well as a bit of an extended time away from the class. That might bring feelings of anxiety, relief, happiness, a little bit frightened, all of those. And all of those sort of coming forward at different times, like feeling super anxious about it and then not easing off and feeling excited, or vice versa. So all of those feelings are valid. So just notice, how is your breath translating those feelings, those emotions? And then maybe see if we can deepen the breath and start to take a bit of control of the breath, filling our bellies, ribs, and chest as we inhale. And then exhale, chest, ribs, and belly. Let it all go. Inhale to fill belly, ribs, and chest. And exhale, chest, ribs, and belly. Taking a few more breaths in your own time, and if setting an intention is part of your practice, go ahead and do that now. Setting an intention is just creating a little mantra or motto that you can repeat to yourself throughout the practice. It's another tool in our tool belt that we can tap into to help bring us back to the present moment. Other tools, of course, are the breath. And if we have decided to practice in the chair and that is something different for us, that beginner mindset and coming back to that beginner mindset is another way to stay present. So repeating our motto, our mantra, our intention to ourselves a few more times. And then if the eyes are closed, maybe fluttering the eyes open and just having a quick look around, reorienting ourselves to our space, and we'll bring a bit of movement now to our breath. With our hands still in our laps, maybe we want to step the feet a little wider, just so we can start to do some hip circles and find a bit more space for the belly here. And maybe as well, depending on what type of chair we're sitting in, if we're in the chair, maybe wanting to move forward a little bit to the edge of the chair to create a bit more space so we can really round through the spine. So we're trying to create some circles, feeling and waking up the hips. And inhaling as we pull ourselves forward, making room for that belly and heart space, and then rounding through the spine. So maybe even using the knees as anchors to help splay the shoulder blades as we round back. So a little bit of a like active, not active, but like fluid cat-cow. So we find our cow posture as we pull ourselves forward, inhale, and then we find that rounded cat back as we exhale. Exhale to lean back, inhale to come forward. So depending on where everyone's practicing, I hope that you enjoyed the snowstorm as well. So I'm in Ontario, Southern Ontario. We got dumped on. It is still quite snowy. We're still digging ourselves out, but it sort of brought that sense of community back. Let's take an inhale here, come up through center. If you're seated on the ground with cross-legged and you want to cross and change the cross-legged position you have, go ahead and do that now. For those of us in the chair, let's just start to spin in the other direction on the floor as well. Here we go. Let's inhale, spinning in the other direction, pulling the heart space through and rounding through the spine, noticing how the hips feel. Now that we're moving and shifting our weight from side to side in the opposite direction. So as I was saying, we're still digging ourselves out of our snowstorm, but it really brought that sense of community, of that we're all in this together, which we are in our communities, but still globally. So it was a nice little reminder that coming together, helping out our neighbors, our friends, in a time of need it's important. We're all in it together still, both temporarily in this snowstorm and hopefully temporarily what's going on in the world with COVID, and that there's been a lot of divide and all kinds of feelings, but we are all in it together, and I hope that one day we'll be all out of it together. And the snowstorm, for all its challenges, brought some of those kind feelings of connectedness. All right, let's just do a couple more here. I've been yammering and chatting. Time to move on, continue with our warm-up. So let's take a big inhale, come through center. We can even roll the shoulders a couple of times. Maybe going in the other direction as well. All right, let's step the feet back through center. If we step them wide for the circles. Let's do a few movements sort of through. We're warming up the hips there. Let's continue to warm up the spine a bit. Let's take a big inhale, sweep our arms up. Exhale, let's just bring them down. We'll do a couple of those, warming up the shoulders. All right, inhale here. Let's find a twist. So we're gonna just cross our right hand across our body here, reaching for the outside of our left leg, Our left hand comes behind, depending on what type of chair you have. Maybe it finds the back of the chair, or maybe it just comes behind us on the floor. And we're going to sit tall through the sit bones so that our spine is upright, and we're twisting from belly and ribs and then shoulders, and maybe looking back behind our left shoulder. Take an inhale here, stay for the exhale, and then we'll inhale to untwist, coming through center, sweep the arms up, over to the other side. Exhale, left arm crosses the body, reaches for the outside of the right leg, and same thing, this right hand may just find the mat or it might find the chair to help guide our twist from belly, chest, and shoulders. Looking over the right shoulder here, stay for the inhale and exhale. On the inhale, we'll untwist, sweep our arms up. We'll just move from side to side here, really rooting down through the sit bone so that the hips aren't really moving. We're just twisting through the spine. So we're also feeling a bit of the core work here. One more to the other side. Good, we'll inhale through center. Let's reach the hands up, really plant the feet down, really root down through the sit bones, reach up high, even drawing the shoulders up towards the ears here. Inhale. As we exhale, let's reach and grab onto our right wrist and find a side bend. Now stay heavy through the hips so we're seated nice and equal weight distribution in the sit bones. And we're finding a nice big opening down the side now of the body. All right, let's inhale, release that wrist, reach up, draw the shoulders up. As we exhale, relax the shoulders, reach for the left wrist, reach up and over. Exhale here, find that nice side stretch down the side of the body. Let's inhale to release. Exhale, draw the hands, reach them behind. Now, if you don't have room behind you because of the type of chair you're sitting in, see if we can move forward a bit. See if we can clasp those knuckles and reach the knuckles down. Just open up through the heart space. Option to stay nice and lifted here, or option to fold forward, reach the knuckles up towards the ceiling, still opening up through the heart center. I'm not going to choose that option today. It's just giving my shoulder a little bit of grief. I like this nice opening right here. So find what works for you, and don't be afraid to take a quote unquote lower option than you normally do. That's okay. That's part of our beginner mindset and trying out new things. Let's stay for one more breath. And if you're folded down on the inhale, make your way back up, and the rest of us will sweep our arms up overhead and then exhale down through center. Good. Whew, roll those shoulders, shake it out. Awesome. So let's start to work into our core a little bit and get the hips moving again and start to feel some strength building. So if you're on the floor, you can find a tabletop and we'll find our spinal balance on the floor. If you're in the chair with me, we're going to find our spinal balance and our core work sitting in the chair here. Let's take an inhale, sweep our left arm up and see how we feel here if we lift the right leg. So this might be already, you're feeling your weight shift around, you're feeling those core muscles engaged so that we're still sitting up nice and tall. Now option here is to inhale and exhale the arms up and down the leg like this. No problem, you can stay here. Other option is as we inhale and sweep our arm up and lift this right leg. On the exhale, instead of lowering, we're going to see if we can connect and squeeze the core and connect the elbow and knee here. So we're now feeling a bit more work in the core. We're feeling the hips engaged, and then we'll inhale to open. Find length, exhale, squeeze. If you're on the floor, on all fours, you're squeezing and connecting elbow to knee underneath the belly. So we're finding that cat back, making room, and then inhaling, open up. Good. If you're in the chair, you can hold on to the chair for support. Let's do a couple more here. Exhale, round through the belly. Really make room underneath that belly for the knee and elbow to connect. Last one here. Woo. Let's inhale to reach, 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 reach. Exhale, lower everything down. Good. Take a couple of breaths. Maybe we want to inhale and sweep our arms up. Exhale. If you're on the floor, maybe sitting back in child's pose for a couple of breaths. That's an option in the chair too, in fact. For child's pose in the chair, we always just want to make a bit of room, so we want to step our feet forward. As we just fold forward, the hands can stay resting up on the thighs or down towards the floor or a block as well. This is a nice way to relax the back, shake the head out. This is our child's pose in our chair. All right, let's make our way back up, maybe walking the hands up, helping ourselves come up to seated in the chair. Let's just walk the feet in a little bit, but only as far as you need to find that balance so we can do our spinal balance on the other side. So let's see how we're feeling on this side. Let's inhale, sweep that right arm up this time. Left leg extends. So remember our options. We might stay here. We might just inhale and exhale, lowering and lifting the leg and arm. Or maybe we're going to inhale to reach, grab onto our chair for support, exhale, squeeze the core around through the belly and the spine and connect that elbow to knee, and then find a big inhale here. Good, exhale. Inhale to reach long if you're on the floor. In tabletop, really round through the spine, make room underneath for that elbow and knee to connect. It's big core work here. Let's exhale. All right, last one here. Exhale. Inhale to reach, reach, reach. And then exhale, lower. Good. Find that child's pose again. If you're in the chair, you can find child's pose, or you can take a few breaths, maybe even hinge forward into child's pose. Just relax, shake it all out, let it go. If you're on the floor, start to walk your hands over to one side. Find a big side stretch still in child's pose. If you're in the chair here, coming up to seated, just so we can make the stance a little bit wider here, we're going to find a side stretch as well. We're going to take our left elbow, find our left knee, and then sweep the right arm back. Option as well to open up the bottom arm and press the leg into the arm into the leg, just to help deepen the twist a little bit. And then we'll come through center. Let's take an inhale. We'll come on up. Good. And we'll go to the other side. So let's let the right elbow find the right knee. And we're just opening up, sort of as if we're drawing a long line. So you don't have to open this arm, but imagine this long line of energy from the fingers to the fingers. Elbow can still be resting on knee, or just like before, we can open the arm up, press the arm into the leg, press the leg into the arm, and really help deepen the twist without sort of cranking too much. Take a big inhale here. We're feeling maybe a bit of stretch down the side, but nice big open breath. If you're on the floor, switch sides, walk your hands over to the other side, find that nice side stretch. Keep breathing. All right, on the inhale, let's come through center, lower the arm, and sit up nice and tall. Okay, let's come into a few balance poses here. Now, option in the chair is to stay seated, or I'll just quickly demonstrate a couple of options using the chair for support as well. So we're going to come into our eagle pose. Actually, we're going to start with just a twist and try to start warming up before we jump right into our eagle pose. So for those of us in the chair, we're going to stay seated, but we're going to bring the feet as close together as possible because we're going to use the connection of the legs to help deepen our twist. Seated or standing here, options are, I'll demonstrate in a minute. You can, of course, be coming into chair pose and finding our twist if you're standing or seated, and then I'll demonstrate another option on the floor in a lunge option. So for those of us in the chair, just finding so we can really try to keep the hips and legs pointing forward. So finding that connection, zip up the legs. Let's bring our hands to heart center here and press the hands together. So really feel that energy here. Take an inhale, sit nice and tall, twist over to the right, and start to see if we can connect our elbow outside of our right leg or knee here. And then we're going to continue to press into those hands and see if we can't spin our heart center so that our hands are back at heart center. So they're not up here by our shoulder. Let's see if we can press into those prayer hands and really find that deep twist. Take a look down at the knees. You can see my left knee's kind of shooting out. Let's see if we can even out the knees here as well. So if you're standing, it's very similar. We're just not sitting in the chair. And from the side, it'll look like this. Let me turn this way, sorry. It will look like this. And we're trying to keep our knees even. So we're going to pull that left knee back, press into those prayer hands, open up, find the twist. If we're seated in the chair, the only difference is we've got this chair under our bum. So stay where you are, find a few breaths. I'm going to show an option on the floor for lunge option. So we either can come into knee down or a lunge with the knee lifted, and same thing, we'll find our prayer hands, we'll twist towards the front leg, hinge forward and try and hook that elbow outside of the opposite leg, press into the prayer hands, open up, find that twist. So remember, back knee can be up or down. We just want to work on finding a twist through the course of making sure that we're pressing into the prayer hands, opening the heart space up, keeping the hips square, keeping the knees not even if we've got one lowered, but keeping the hips towards the front and the twist coming from the core. Ooh, that was a lot of cueing and a lot of options. If you're ready to come out of whatever option you're in, go ahead. Get ready to come out of the twist. We can come up through center, untwist, let it go. Good, shake it out. If you're on the floor, go ahead and switch legs for that lunge option. If you're in the chair, we're going to switch options as well, switch sides rather. And if you are standing doing it, take a break. You've been in that posture a long time. When we're ready, let's take a big inhale here. Exhale through heart center, and then exhale, twist through the core. So we're seated nice. Everything's facing forward. We're just twisting from the core here. And then let's see if we can hinge forward and hook that elbow. See if we can press into the prayer hands, open the twist up. Everything else stays connected. If that right knee starts to jet forward, try to pull it back, press into the hands. And if it's in your practice, maybe you can even look over your shoulder. That will challenge your balance, especially if you're not in the chair. So just a couple options there, couple more breaths. Remember, on the floor, the knee can be lifted or lowered. Take one more big inhale and exhale here. And then inhale, let's come on up and untwist. Awesome, let's do a few rounds of breath. For those of us in the chair, let's find some forward folds in our breath. If you're standing, take an inhale as well. Reach up, exhale, let's hinge forward. So swan dive down. If you're in the chair, reach down for the thighs, the floor, or the block. Good. Just hang heavy here. Maybe you want to grab onto opposite elbows. Let the spine drip down. And then on the inhale, we'll get ready to release the hands, bring them back up to the thighs if we need, and hinge all the way back up. Awesome. Roll the shoulders. All right, we did that little twist. Now let's see if we can sort of add in some twisting with our legs and our arms. So we're going to come into our eagle pose. And standing, the option, of course, is just the same as sitting, but you're not sitting in the chair. And the option, of course, is to always hold on to the chair when you're standing, or a wall or anything to help you with your balance if that's needed. So for our eagle pose, let's take our right leg, cross it over our left. Now, seated in the chair, it might be a little more difficult to get much deeper than this much crossing. If you're standing up, regardless of whether you're holding onto the chair or not, you might find you're going to be able to cross the legs a little deeper and even tuck that foot behind the opposite leg as we get into our eagle posture. In the chair, it's a little more difficult. So taking our option here, getting ready for our eagle pose. So crossing the legs, but don't let them be loosey-goosey. Really cross them, squeeze the thighs, and try as if you could get that leg behind. Probably won't be able to, but keep the energy as if you're trying to in the legs here. And then options for arms is they can come to shoulder height. And with our right arm, leg on top rather, let's sweep the right arm under. We can reach back and hold on to our shoulders and stay here. We can stay up nice and tall. We could continue to find a bind in the arms by sort of wrapping the hands and finding the connection of the palms here, lifting the elbows. We'll find a bit more stretch in the back. And regardless of whether our hands are in the bind or reaching for shoulders, the next option is we can stay lifted, or if we like, we can start to crouch down. This might help splay the shoulder blades if you're looking for a bit more stretch in the back. Or you might just be looking for a bit more strength and balance challenge, staying upright. So finding where we are needed, where our strength and concentration is needed, whether it's in the bind, keeping the elbows lifted, curling in, or staying upright, whatever it is. Let's find 3 rounds of breaths. Keep squeezing the legs, whether you're seated or standing. Find a couple more rounds of breath, check in. Do you still need the same, or maybe we do want to fold forward or come up straight or release the bind for a breath. 1 more breath wherever you are. And then let's start to unravel everything. So release the bind of the arms. Let's uncross the legs. We can choose to fold forward. If you're standing, an option might be to step the legs and just I want to say windshield wiper. This is not what I meant. I meant empty coat sleeve. So just swing the arms. Just let it all go. Shake it all out. Find a forward fold. Take a couple breaths, whatever you need. And then we'll settle in and we'll find our eagle on the opposite side. So let's cross left leg over right. Same thing here. If you're seated, you might find that you won't be able to get your foot behind the leg, and you might be able to do it if you're standing, or you might not. Each side is different, but don't lose the energy of the trying to sort of get that bind. You might not be able to do it regardless, but we just don't want the legs to be loosey-goosey. We want to feel the energy. And then we're going to inhale the arms up to shoulder height here. This time we'll sweep the left arm underneath, and we can reach back for our shoulders. We can find the bind. And then we can find our breath. And remember, just like the other side, keep squeezing the legs, keep lifting the elbows. An option to fold forward if we're looking for a little more rounding through the spine, or stay upright. And of course, we'll have any opportunities to switch if we decide, I'd rather be here for a few breaths, or I'd rather be here for a few breaths. Whatever it is your body needs on this side, go ahead and find that now. We'll find 3 more breaths. You may want to change the options here for the final breath. And then on the next inhale, let's unravel it all. We'll unravel the arms, unravel the legs. You can empty coat sleeves. You can step the feet wide here in the chair and find a forward fold if that feels good. Wherever you are, let's inhale, come back up to center. And let's step into a bit of a goddess pose. So if we're standing, our legs will step wide and we'll sink into our knees. So really it's just gonna look like this. If we're seated in the chair, it looks like this. The chair is supporting us. So very similar in the legs. Find strength and engagement, feet planted firmly into the mat or the floor here. And then we can bring our arms up shoulder height. I'm a little too close to the wall here. Let me just move over a little bit. There we go. Arms up shoulder height. Let's find a few rounds of breath. Now, if you're standing, feel free to straighten the legs as you inhale, reach up. And then exhale, hinge forward. If you're seated, option to hold onto the knees for support. And then inhale, sweep up. Exhale, hinge forward. Pressing into the feet to help lift us up. Exhale one more time. press into those feet. Inhale. Good. Let's exhale the hands down to the thighs. We'll rest the hands on the thighs. Again, if you're standing, it looks the same, just not seated in the chair. And if we're seated in the chair is supporting us. Let's take a big inhale through center. And as we exhale, let's dip our right shoulder into the center. Find that twist and a nice stretch. Imagine sort of pressing the legs apart as well. Find a stretch through the inner thighs. That eagle and those side twists kind of stretched out the outer thighs. Let's work on the inner thighs for a bit here. And then we'll inhale through center. Exhale, let's find a couple breaths with the left shoulder dip, twisting. So we're finding that nice twist through the core as the left shoulder dips. Press into the feet. Press into the legs. So feel that counter energy. And then we'll inhale. Let's just flow with our breath for a few rounds. Inhale through center. Exhale, dip the right shoulder. And then inhale through center, left shoulder. So move with your own breath for a few rounds here. It doesn't matter how fast or slow. I'm going move with your breath. Inhale to lift, exhale to dip. Do a couple more. All right, one more here, or however many more to even yourself out, and then inhale through center. Good. Let's take a big inhale, sweep the arms up, exhale the hands through heart center. Let's step the feet back in. Those of you standing, maybe finding mountain pose. We're making our way down to the mat as we start to wind it down towards the end of our practice here. So if we're still feeling like we want to do a little bit more stretching, we were just working on the inner thighs a bit, we can come into our figure four. Now I'm going to show the seated version on the floor. Feel free to roll down onto your back and find your reclined figure four. In the chair here, we'll lift and flex the right foot, cross it over the left knee, and we might already feel a nice stretch happening. We might want to just start to hinge forward to increase the stretch a little bit. Option, if you like, if you're still standing, to turn this into a balance. Well, it would be a balance considering you've lifted your foot off the mat. Or of course, if you're done with balances, the eagle was enough, make your way down to the floor. And I'm going to demonstrate the seated option of this. So stay here if you're here and you're happy, stay standing if you're happy, or join me on the floor here. So I'm just going to turn to the side, turn this way. What we want to do is sit up on the sit bones and find a nice tall back. And we're kind of going to walk the feet so they're flat on the mat here. And then this will take a bit more core engagement. We're going to lift and cross that right foot over the left leg. Now to get it there, we may need to open up that left leg a little bit. This might be enough, or you might find you can bring the hands behind, scooch the bum, and then walk the foot. Scooch the bum, walk the foot until you can't anymore, or until you find the stretch intensity you're looking for in this outer hip here. You can use the hands as support to help your back stay nice and straight. So this is the seated option. I find it quite intense doing the seated option, more so than even the chair or lying down. So this is your option, but know that it can feel quite intense. And to get out of it, you may need to scooch the bum, scooch the foot, scooch the bum, scooch the foot until we can uncross. So since I'm here, I'm going to do it on the other side, seated as well. If you're in the chair or lying down, uncross everything. Just wiggle out the legs a little bit, give them a shake, and then we'll go to the other side. So I'm going to just kind of step the feet here, engage through my core because I'm seated, lift and flex the left foot now, cross it over right leg. I'm going to bring my hands behind me so I can see where I go with the intensity of the stretch here in the seated posture. I don't know. I'm going to scooch the bum in, scooch the foot in, scooch the bum a little more, scooch the foot. That's about it. There you go. Stay for a few breaths wherever you are. All right, one more breath. You can start to make your way out of it. And if you're in this one with me here, I'm going to have to start by moving my bum away a little bit, opening up the foot, a little bit more opening, and then I'll be able to uncross that left leg, shake it out, Shake it out in the chair. And then we'll make our way into a final posture. So options for our final resting posture are to be seated in our chair, just like how we began, or of course seated on the floor or lying down on our backs. We're just going to find a few moments here of quiet, a bit of gratitude, which if you're wondering, my shirt says gratitude is so gangster. So we weren't actively practicing gratitude, but of course I think we all feel a bit of gratitude for being able to find this time to practice, find this time for ourselves, to move our bodies, to disconnect from the snowstorm, work, thoughts of school, whatever it is we're feeling, and just find this time for ourselves to tap into that beginner mindset and just have this opportunity to move our bodies and breathe. So with that, settle in. Find a comfortable position. If you feel comfortable closing your eyes wherever you are, go ahead and do that now. If you're lying down on the ground, knees can be bent or straight out in front of you. Hands can be down by our side, palms turned up. This is in a sort of a gesture of acceptance and gratitude. If we're looking for a bit more grounding and connection, turning the palms down. So whatever feels best for you, whatever your body's needing now, and whatever you think you might need to carry with you for the rest of your day, go ahead and find that now. Take a few deep breaths, start scanning your body. And just notice if there are any areas you're still holding on to any tension. See if you can't breathe a little loving kindness that way and just let it go. Shavasana is the time for our physical and energetic bodies to absorb all that good work we just did and turn it into something magical. It's a time for integration and rest. And know that rest is different from sleep and that we need both every day. And we should never pass up an opportunity to just rest and do nothing. Now, of course, the beauty of practicing through a video is that you can stay in Shavasana as long as your body wants or needs. And just let the video play out and end, or just quietly pressing pause. If you're ready to start to wake up your body and get on with your day or evening, whatever time it is for you, start to wiggle through fingers and toes, maybe circle wrists and ankles. You can choose to stretch long or tall or curl into a little ball one last time, just before making your way to a comfortable seated position. Once we all arrive here, we can bring our hands to prayer at heart center if that feels comfortable, or just rest them over our hearts, and we'll take a big breath together to finish our practice. Let's take a big inhale. Exhale, let it all go. Thank you so much for allowing me to join you in your personal private yoga practice spaces and for allowing me to guide you through these moves today. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day, that you are able to dig yourself out of the snowstorm if you are experiencing that. But while it's happening, enjoy some of that feeling of connectedness with the neighbors and friends and the world around you. And until we have a chance to flow again, take care. So thank you everyone for joining me here today. I hope that this practice gave you an opportunity to set aside all of the chores and the feelings of anxiety and nervousness that this day might bring, because I know it's a big day, at least in Ontario, for getting back to school and the snowstorm and COVID and everything that's going on. So it's a big day. So I hope that this brought you a bit of joy, gratitude, happiness, or just a moment of not thinking about those things, and hope to see you again next week. Take care. Bye.